Abu Bakr As-Siddiq. His life and upbringing. Abu Bakr As-Siddiq, whose full name was Abdullah ibn Abi Quafa, was the first of the Rashidun Caliphs and one of the 10 companions promised paradise. Born in Mecca in 573 CE, 2.5 years after the Year of the Elephant, he was one of the wealthiest and most respected leaders of the Quraysh tribe in the pre-Islamic era. During this time, he was known for his numerous noble qualities, including his deep knowledge of Arab genealogies and history. He was also a kind and generous merchant who traveled widely for trade and was known for his lavish spending. Notably, he never consumed alcohol or prostrated before an idol, believing that alcohol destroyed honor and that idols were senseless. His conversion to Islam in Mecca. Abu Bakr's conversion to Islam was the culmination of a long search for truth. After an encounter with a monk in Syria and a prophecy about a coming prophet, he waited. When the Prophet Muhammad invited him to Islam, he accepted without a moment's hesitation, becoming the first free man to do so. The Prophet expressed immense joy at his conversion, stating, "I have not called anyone to Islam but that they had some hesitation, wavering, and thought, except for Abu Bakr. He did not waver when I spoke to him about it, nor did he hesitate." Following his conversion, Abu Bakr began calling those he trusted to Islam. Thanks to his efforts, many of the early companions, including Al-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, Uthman ibn Affan, Talha ibn Ubaydullah, and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, embraced the faith. When the number of Muslims reached 38, Abu Bakr insisted on a public declaration of the faith and became the first person to deliver a sermon inviting people to Islam. This act led to him being severely beaten by the polytheists to the point where he was presumed dead. He also dedicated himself to helping oppressed Muslims, using his wealth to buy and free slaves who had converted. The most famous of these was Bilal ibn Rabah, who was being tortured by his master, Umayyah ibn Caliph. His hijrah, migration, and life in Medina. As the persecution of Muslims intensified, the Prophet Muhammad permitted his companions to migrate to Medina, but he and Abu Bakr remained in Mecca. Abu Bakr had been preparing for the journey, and the Prophet eventually revealed that he too had been given permission to migrate and that Abu Bakr would be his companion. Abu Bakr wept with joy upon hearing the news. The Prophet and Abu Bakr left for the cave of Thor, where they hid for 3 nights. During their time in the cave, Abu Bakr's son, Abdullah, would bring them news of the Quraysh, while his freed slave, Amir ibn Fuhaira, would cover their tracks with his flock of sheep. Abu Bakr's daughter, Asma, brought them food. When the polytheists reached the cave's entrance, Abu Bakr feared for the Prophet, but the Prophet reassured him, saying, "Do not grieve, indeed, Allah is with us." After 3 nights, they resumed their journey to Medina, where they were received with great jubilation. At first, the Ansar, helpers, could not distinguish the Prophet from Abu Bakr, so Abu Bakr shaded him with his cloak, which allowed the people to recognize the Prophet. The Prophet stayed with the Banu Amr ibn Aw and founded the Mosque of Quba, then built his main mosque on the site where his camel knelt. Abu Bakr settled with Kharija ibn Zayd. His participation in jihad. Abu Bakr participated in all the major battles with the Prophet Muhammad and did not miss a single one. Battle of Badr, 2 Abu Bakr fought bravely, facing his own son, Abdul Rahman, who was fighting on the side of the polytheists. Battle of Uhud, 3 when the Muslims scattered around the Prophet, Abu Bakr was among the first to remain steadfast and rush back to his side. Battle of Banu al-Mustalik, 5 he carried the banner of the Muhajirun, emigrants. Battle of the Trench, 5 and Battle of Banu Qurayza, 5 he was the Prophet's companion during these campaigns. Treaty of Hudaybiyah, 6 he was a witness to the treaty. Conquest of Mecca, 8 he entered Mecca by the Prophet's side, and on this day, his father, Abu Quafa, converted to Islam. Battle of Hunain, 8 he was among the few companions who stood firm with the Prophet during the initial chaos, which led to their eventual victory. Battle of Tabuk, 9 he carried the greatest banner. When the Prophet encouraged the companions to donate, Abu Bakr gave all his wealth. When asked what he had left for his family, he replied, "I have left them Allah and His Messenger." His caliphate and death. When the Prophet Muhammad fell ill, he ordered Abu Bakr to lead the Muslims in prayer. Following the Prophet's death, Abu Bakr was pledged allegiance as the Caliph. He immediately began managing the state's affairs, appointing governors and leading armies. When many Arab tribes apostatized, he led the successful Ridda Wars to bring the entire Arabian Peninsula back under Islamic rule. After these wars concluded, he directed the Muslim armies to conquer Iraq and the Levant, successfully opening vast regions. Abu Bakr As-Siddiq died on Monday, the 22nd of Jumada al-Akhira in the year 13 AH, at the age of 63. He was succeeded by Umar ibn al-Khattab.